right. What I'm going to show you right now is studs are easy. What do I mean by that? Number one, treat them like a horse. Same rules apply. Horses can only think of one thing at a time, and we all know what studs think of. So, if this is a 2-year-old stud right here, and if they can only think of one thing at a time, if they're looking somewhere else besides you, you're invisible. That'll get you hurt. Studs can only a stud can do anything that a horse can do. But if this horse isn't giving me his attention, I can't help it. You don't punish studs, you teach them. You educate the ignorance and reward the slightest try. So the most important thing is the stud has to give you his attention. And you have to reward him. You can't hold a grudge. You'll teach him how to hold a grudge. You don't punish him, you educate him. And that doesn't mean you let him run all over you. If a stud has to give me his attention, he's already in violation. So we have to get his attention, and every time we lose his attention, we need to get it back. And we can't get mad while we do it. You can't be mean to a stud horse. You have to be fair. He can't help being who he is. And as long as he's being good, you treat him good. If he's not being good, you educate him. You don't punish. There's a filly right over there. I keep my wife's show horse right next to this horse in a stall. And so we don't want to pick a fight with them. Studs have to yield to you. If rule number 1 is they cannot touch you for the rest of their life, then that would dictate that they can't come up to you and crowd into you. They have to yield. It's hard for studs to yield. That's what guarantees the survival of the species, is the fact that stud horses don't yield. But they can be taught to yield. They can be taught to be meaner than hell. They can be taught to be kind. But they can also be taught, if you put tack on them, whether it's a halter, a snaffle bit, bridle, saddle, it don't matter. When you put tack on them, their job is to read your intentions and follow a feel. Your job is to educate that, escalate when you need to, and be soft when you can be. Studs are really simple. Rule number 1, a stud can never touch me for the rest of his life, but I can touch him anytime I want to, and I touch him a lot. Sounds like the same rule that we use for all the horses. Rule number 2, a stud cannot dictate direction or speed. It sounds exactly like rule number 2 that we use for the rest of the horses. And rule number 3, and I only have 3 rules, you guys have all heard them before. Never chase his face. We don't run him around in the round pen, behind him with a whip, chasing him around, teaching him to go around the circle counter bent and ignoring us. We don't do that. We exercise them. We make sure they get plenty of turnout. and we make sure they get turned out in a safe enough place where they can be around another horse. Just because he's a stud, he ought not to be in solitary confinement by himself all the time. He is a horse. This is going to be the homework report for when we send this little stud home. And these are the things that we work on with this stud every day. And he's not afraid of me. Attention, get it back, Petty. Some studs are going to be a little more full of testosterone than others. If you've got a really quiet stud that doesn't show any interest in mares or other horses, that's the exception to the rule. Most studs want to know everything about their environment. Treat them like you would a hot-blooded horse. Get them to give you their attention and back up. You don't make him yield to you part of the time and let him ignore you and wallow on you part of the time. With studs, if you're fair and consistent, studs are easy. Now, the yielding. If I shake this rope left and right, just like with a filly or a gelding, that means back up, left and right. I'm going to back him up 2 steps, and I'm going to pet him. I didn't pull him and stop him, I just quit asking him to back up. That's 100% of the time. If he gives you unrequested forward motion, you don't beat him for that. Hell, he might be just coming in to check in with you to see what you want to do next. I mean, he could be coming in to attack you too, but if you're that dull that you don't see that, well, you ought not to have a stud anyway. And I'm just trying to keep it honest, folks. If I touch his right jaw, I want his left front foot to step over. Every time. If I ask him to go forward, I want him to go forward without stopping. I didn't beat on him. He's going forward. Leave him alone. Forward. I didn't ask him to stop. If I pick straight up, I want that inside hind leg. If I go left and right, I want him to back up 2 steps. All the time. Not just part of the time, all the time. If you're consistent and fair, studs are easy. If you're aware, don't go out and grab your stud colt to work with him and spend all your time on the phone. I got that phone on a tripod. Give him your attention. If you want him to be concerned about what you have on your mind, you need to have concern about what's on his mind. And the most important thing is don't let him look somewhere else. If horses can only think of one thing at a time, every time he looks away, he's thinking about something else. If he's thinking about something else besides you, you're going to get hurt. And if you're letting him think about other things besides you, you need to sharpen your skill set up just a little bit. Forward. Inside hind leg. Left and right. Is he perfect? No, but he ain't afraid of me, and he tries. And if I have his attention, he tries really, really good. Left jaw, right front foot. Legs. He goes forward when he turns, not into me. He has to yield to me. If I pick up on this thing and put my leg on him, he needs to get over like that. He needs the leg yield. Like that. Make that circle bigger. Get him away from you. Right shoulder. Left shoulder. And you don't back up to him. He yields to you. If you want his hip, you don't just start beating on his hip. You give him the same cue you would if you were riding. You pick up, inside hind leg, left and right. That means back up. You escalate that until he does what you ask. And then you leave him alone. Studs are easy. But you have to remain vigilant. You have to remain fair. You don't pick on them because they're not perfect. You continue to educate them until their quality of performance is what you expect. If you expect your stud to act like a gelding and you don't do it mean, you just ride him and treat him like a gelding, he'll act like a gelding. Unless you turn him loose with a bunch of mares, then he'll act like a stud horse, which is what he is. You can't beat on him for being what he is. You can modify what he is so that it's mutually beneficial to both of you. That's fair. He has a job to do. And as far as what he was created for, yes, he should be a saddle horse. He should be the best saddle horse on your place, actually. But he also has another function in life. Reproduce the species. And if you beat on him for being a stud horse that has stud horse tendencies, he'll just get sneaky and terrible, and he'll learn to fight you. He'll learn to survive. He'll learn to brace. Don't teach him the things you don't want him to know. And if you're afraid of your stud, you've either let it go too far, or you ought not to have a stud. Because he knows if I know. He knows if I don't know. And if we let him dominate us, he's got to get back. I asked him to back up. I'm not going to quit till I get what I asked for. But when I got it, I quit. Don't be afraid to be nice to them if they're being nice. Put your finger in his damn mouth. This whole horse belongs to me. But you got to be fair, and you got to be consistent. You can't be a tyrant on Monday and whatever you want to call yourself on Tuesday. You have to be the same all the time. He's dependent upon that. And he may have to be reminded of the parameters daily. But you still can't do it being mean. You can't. You got to be fair. And if you are fair, your stud will act like this stud. But if you let him, if you give him an inch, like that creeping right there, he's not allowed to do that. He needs to get back when I shake that rope. He's not allowed to creep on me. He needs to stay where I put him, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And it ought not to be no big deal. And like I said, he needs socialized. Well, you can't put him in a pen full of other horses. He'll probably get in a fight. If you got client horses, You don't want to get your client horses hurt or skinned up. If he's your own personal stud, there are people that run studs in with mare bands, and those dry mares are not nice to them. Those studs learn through the laws of nature that they can go talk to that horse, but they can't go talk to that one. They learn by the laws of nature that they don't just walk up to a strange horse and stick its nose in his butt. Because an old dry mare will clean his claw. But if you have a stud colt and you're just working with it at home and you're trying to do the best you can for them, the best that you can do for them is to be fair, to be honest, to be consistent, to educate them, not punish them. Don't make them afraid of your tools. Don't make them afraid of you at all, because that'll only work until something comes along that's scarier than you, and then they will clean your claw. Studs are easy. And I truly believe that. And every day you work with your horse, if you're the same, and that's mutually beneficial to both of you, and it has value to you, and it has value to him, you're going to be all right. Left and right. I didn't ask him to come up to me. I'm not being mean to him. What I'm being is consistent. And you might think it's cool if your old mare or your old gelding comes up to you and kind of pushes on you so you can scratch him and give him a cookie. That is not cool for a stud horse. He's just exercising his right to dominate. Well, the really good fix for that, so you don't have to ever get mean, is teach him right at the very start that they don't get to do that. He needs to stay where we put him. And if they're afraid of you, if they're jumpy, you need to spend a little time getting them soft, quiet, and relaxed. Because a horse that's jumpy is thinking about being afraid. If he's thinking about being afraid, he don't got time to think about learning something. Horses can only think of one thing at a time. I believe that statement. And if you've got him terrified, you can't teach him nothing except for how to get away from you or how to fight. Studs are easy. I hope that helps. We handle a lot of studs here. The easiest ones are just yearlings. But just because they're not a yearling don't mean that you can't help them out. I've helped studs that were in the breeding barn. That's what it should look like. I get that camera focused on him. When you tie him up, he had to tie up. He should get tied up every day. And if you want to walk up to him while he's tied up, you ought to be able to walk up to him and pet him. Put your finger in his mouth. That's the way a stud should act. That's this little horse's homework. That's how they're going to interact with him when they take him home. And it's going to take consistent, steady work. But if you give him what he needs when he needs it, he'll be fine. Studs are easy. Bye.